All right. So hello everyone and welcome to another AMA session. We are for those of you that didn't have a chance to check what we're all about yet, I'll just dive right into the short introduction for you to, of course, get the hang of the basics. And then, as I did mention before, we're going to be handing over the microphone to Diam for the presentation portion of today's session. Now, just a little bit of an overview on the event, just so you know what you're going to be, well, essentially learning today. First and foremost, you're going to get the useful information about Planck₀. So this is their layer 0 modular blockchain network, which is designed to power DePINs and modular L1s with embedded access to enterprise-grade GPU infrastructure. Now, on the other hand, you also have Planck₁, which is their compute chain built to power decentralized compute at the protocol level. Now, on top of everything that we did manage to discuss up until this point, you'll also get some useful information on Planck's AI Cloud, also their AI Studio, alongside token utilities. Now, as far as those token utilities go, they include buybacks, you have the governance aspect, launchpad access, and many more features. And this is something that I truly want when I say many more features, but everything mentioned right now, the basics that I was talking about, that's probably not even 2 or 3% of the things that they have available for you. So again, a lot of things to take advantage of. And this is exactly why I'm super excited to be hosting the session, just so I can get a great conversation rolling here. And of course, looking forward to the community questions as well. Now, before handing over the microphone to Dee, I just wanted to, of course, drop the reminder for the pre-sale on GemPad. So it is taking place today at 6 p.m. UTC sharp, a little bit under 3 hours, as we did have a chance to mention. So if you're interested in contributing to the sale, you, of course, can find the link to it on, well, it's currently the last pin message, so obviously the AMA announcement, as well as the last message in our actual group chat. So we did forward it there just so you can have things hassle-free for you all. And, of course, some encouragement if there's going to be anything else that you might want to know here, do make sure to also join your Telegram just so the team can get you sorted ASAP once again before the sale starts today at 6 p.m. UTC. It's a pleasure to have you here. And of course, thank you very much for being with me for a little bit of a longer introduction. Now, for starters, if you don't mind just providing a little bit of background information about yourself, and then feel free to just tie it together to the idea behind Planck Network. So let's say how everything got started, tools, utilities, basically everything that you want the listeners to know, and then we're going to continue with some topics of discussion. So thank you, and the floor is all yours. Welcome.
Thank you for the introduction. So yeah, there are a couple of things I want to speak to about. First of all, a little bit about myself. I also want to quickly touch down on how we started this company, the problem we're actually facing in the whole AI space, what our solution is, the architecture behind it, the products that we have built, especially in the Web 2 space, because AI is being built in Web 2. And yeah, a little bit more about the token and the team behind the company. So let me first quickly start about myself. I don't want to make this too long. I'm not new in the crypto space. 5 years ago, I started building a StateX. It's a real estate investment platform that is lowering the barrier of investing into real estate through their own layer 1 blockchain and through a completely compliance layer that is built into the blockchain, all with licensing in Europe and stuff. The company has been in the building for 4 years, and then 4 months ago it launched. It launched from a 20 million market cap to a 200 million market cap. It was even a little bit more. So I know how to build communities. I know how to structure the legal side of crypto companies to make it completely regulated. And yeah, I have experience in the space. Although I left that company almost 2.5 years ago, it was a very regulated company, which means really good for the space, but also it requires you to have all kinds of financial experience to get the licensing you need to offer real estate at such low levels. So I left the company. The company is still doing great. We're sharing a lot of marketing partners. But I started building Planck with my co-founder. Quickly, my co-founder was working in Google Cloud. He wanted to build a better version of Google Cloud, specifically for AI. So he and I met, and he dropped out of Google Cloud, out of their cloud division, and he started building Planck together with me. So that's a quick history on how Planck began. Quickly about the problem that the AI space is currently facing. So, every AI company faces the same two problems. Cloud computing is insanely expensive, And for the AI companies that are building in Web3, the decentralized solutions for cloud computing aren't reliable today. So, you have two options. You can, if you're building an AI company, for your application, you can use the big cloud providers like Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure. I'm sure everybody knows them. Every application that you're using on the web is probably powered in some way by AWS, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure. They are very reliable, but they will charge you a lot for a good H100 GPU. So we're talking about like $80,000 a month for like 8 GPU cards from the best AI GPU out there. So that puts advanced AI compute completely out of reach for smaller teams or for companies that haven't raised so much. The other option is to go decentralized, and decentralized is always a lot more affordable because it has token incentives for the compute providers. But those networks usually rely on consumer GPUs. With consumer GPUs, I mean like someone's gaming PC that is chipped into a decentralized network. They're cheap, but not reliable enough. There's no guaranteed uptime, no compliance, no bandwidth. Definitely not something you trust to run a medical AI application or a heavy financial model. It's all not something that you want to put in someone's gaming PC, although the idea behind it is very interesting. So we fixed these two by combining the best of the two worlds, basically. We're only deploying enterprise-grade GPUs, so no GPUs that sits in somebody's gaming PC at home. No, only GPUs that are sitting in very, very well-maintained data centers. We call them tier 3 and tier 4 data centers. That's the same level as AWS and Azure. Tier 1 and tier 2 are the lowest tiers, and tier 3 and tier 4 are the highest tier data centers. That means the compute that we are currently offering, we have almost $60 million worth of these enterprise-grade GPUs inside the network right now. They're all reliable. They have very big uptime. And they run all through a decentralized token-driven model that makes it up to 90% more affordable for us to offer them to AI companies. So enterprises get reliability with us, startups get affordability. So we're trying to close the gap between decentralization and centralization by combining the best of the two. The architecture that makes this possible is incredible. We have built a technology stack with 2 layers where everybody knows what a layer 1 blockchain is. Well, that is Planck₁. Planck₁ is our compute native layer 1 blockchain. What that means is all the AI operations that we have or that are occurring on our cloud computing platform, they all run through this layer 1 blockchain called Planck₁. So renting a GPU, running AI model inferencing, fine-tuning of AI models, processing transactions, it's all running through this layer 1 blockchain. It's called Planck₁. Underneath that, we have built something very interesting. It's the world's first layer 0 for AI and DePIN. So you can understand with a layer 1, pretty simple. On a layer 1, you can build decentralized applications, right? So that's what a normal layer 1 does. A layer 0 allows layer 1s to be built on top of it. So on a layer 0, you can build a layer 1, and on that layer 1, you can build decentralized applications again. So that is what Planck₀ is. We have Planck₁ and Planck₀. And Planck₀, again, it's the world's first layer 0 for AI and DePIN chains. So it doesn't run any workloads itself. It doesn't run any AI operations itself. Instead, it connects multiple AI layer 1s or DePIN layer 1s and provides shared security, token interoperability, and something completely new we call compute interoperability. Compute interoperability means that if one chain has extra GPU capacity, like too much GPU capacity for the demand that it currently has for those GPUs, then another chain can instantly use that capacity of GPU. So it makes compute a shared and fluid resource across the entire ecosystem. It makes it a liquid resource, something that centralized clouds can surely not do, and none of our competitors have ever announced something like this. So we're actually the first in the world that is shaping the narrative of compute interoperability. Why this matters, as you are a compute provider and you're locking in your GPUs into one network, and all of a sudden that network doesn't have enough demand, so you can't pay all your electricity bills with the revenue that comes from that network, then you want another layer 1 to pick that up instantly to make sure that you can pay for your electricity bills as a compute provider. So the same we saw with token interoperability. We saw that liquidity wanted to move where the demand was. If there was demand on Binance, one day and the other day on Ethereum, then you wanted that liquidity that you have to move where the demand is. And we're doing the same with compute. We're calling it compute interoperability. So that's the Web3 architecture that we have been building. A couple of things to still go over, which is very important. It's our two main products on top of that Web3 stack. So we talked about the Web3 architecture. Let's now talk about the products we have built on top of that stack. The first one is the AI Cloud. It's Planck's AI Cloud. It's our answer to Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure. It's an infrastructure as a service platform, and it's designed for companies that need a lot of GPU compute. There are a couple of things that make us very interesting compared to IO.net or Aether or other competitors in the Web3 space that offer something similar. And that is, we have enterprise-grade features. So we are not just a marketplace where you have supply and demand. We have built all kinds of necessary features that you will find on Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud. And you need to have that feature as a Web3 competitor of these platforms to make sure that that the customers are moving from Amazon Web Services to your own solution. So with us, you can spin up virtual machines, rent H100s or B200s on a marketplace. We have elastic scaling, load balancing features. It includes all the enterprise features that you would expect, but then at a fraction of the cost of Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud or any competitor in the Web2 space. So that's the product that we are mostly offering in Web2. Why do I say that? Because useful AI is currently still being built in Web2. You see all the big AI companies like Cursor, like OpenAI, they all built in Web2 space. So we're offering this AI cloud mostly in Web2. And like I mentioned, Planck₁, our layer 1 blockchain, is attached to this AI cloud, and it processes everything from transactions to renting to all kinds of operations on the platform go through our own layer 1. So that's very interesting to know. Companies that use the AI cloud don't know that they are using a blockchain actually. The interface is just a normal cloud computing platform, but in the backend they're using a layer 1, and that is very important for adoption because Web2 companies scare away quickly from Web3. So we don't have to mention that it's powered by a blockchain because it's all safe, it's all secure, and they're just using a familiar front end from our AI cloud computing platform that they're familiar with. Then the token as staking, very important, I guess. So at the center of everything I just mentioned is Planck. It has three major utilities: staking, co-staking, and buybacks. So let me start with the first one. Users can stake Planck and they receive Planck, which is a sort of rebase token. So you stake Planck into a liquid staking pool. You receive Planck, which is a liquid token. So you have your Planck locked into a staking pool, but you receive another token for it, which you can restake into other pools. So it allows you to stay liquid while earning rewards. After you receive this Planck, you can join GPU pools. So what we don't do is we don't allow the crypto community that have GPUs at home in their gaming PC, we don't allow them to stake their GPUs in our network because we can't offer these types of GPUs that don't have good reliability. We can't offer them to enterprise-grade clients on our cloud computing platform. Instead, like I told you, we have all these tier 3 and tier 4 data centers locking their GPUs into our network. And what we made possible with co-staking is that the community can still earn from these high-end GPUs. Again, when you receive Planck from the liquid staking pool, you can use that Planck to participate in the co-staking pool. And what that actually means for you is that you are earning from high-end GPUs without actually owning them. So you can just co-stake your Planck at these data center operators, and you are earning a piece of the revenue every hour that these GPUs are alive on the network. So you don't have to buy your own GPUs. You can just stake them at data centers, and you will earn a piece of their revenue, which is very important for community engagement, in our opinion. Besides that, we have a buyback. So every bit of revenue that comes through the cloud computing platform goes back into buying back Planck tokens, and that keeps the buy pressure on the chart. by the company itself. So we have staking, co-staking, and buybacks as our most important utilities that will be live at TGE on November 12th. Besides that, there come all kinds of other utilities that will come on, like governance, like validator staking on the layer 0, bridging fees that will be also all in Planck. We are building our own decentralized exchange, and they will also, all the fees there will be in Planck. So there will come a lot more utilities live after TGE, but the major core utilities will be live at TGE. Let's see, quickly about our backers, because I think it's important to know that we are trusted and some of the biggest people in crypto invest into us. It includes the co-founder of Tether. Everybody knows USDT. It's the most used stablecoin in the world. It's an amazing big company, and it was co-founded by crypto billionaire Brock Pierce. He invested into Planck as well, very heavily, with his own angel investment and also with the investment from his investment fund. We have also Scott Walker on the cap table. He did the very first token sale ever with Mastercoin. So the very first token sale that ever occurred more than 10 years ago was done by Scott Walker as one of the persons behind that coin. We have several funds like DePIN Capital, like I mentioned, DNA Fund, GDA Capital. We have more than 10 investment funds that backed us early on. Our team has backgrounds from leading blockchain companies like Polkadot, Decentraland. We have security engineers from Coinbase. We have bridge engineers from Near Protocol. Like I said, my co-founder comes from Google Cloud. So we have a very a professional team. We're headquartered globally with teams across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. We have entities in Dubai, in Hong Kong, 2 in the BVI, 1 in the Cayman Islands. So we're very diverse in terms of our entities. And our legal framework is fully MiCA compliant. What this means is we got our approval from financial regulators in Europe to make us one of the first fully compliant decentralized AI infrastructure networks in Europe. What this means for investors is they are completely protected by EU law. It's very important for us to list on European exchanges. So that's also why we moved our TGE from October 28 to November 12, because starting from November 7, we can officially list on European crypto exchanges. So we are very looking forward to November 12. For investors, it just brings an extra protection layer because, we are completely approved by the EU to list in Europe under a lot of protections for investors. So I think I went over everything very quickly. I didn't want to make this too long. I can go a little bit too technical sometimes. So I tried to make it a little bit, keep it a little bit simple. If there are any questions, then I would love to answer them.
Perfect. Now, first and foremost, I did want to mention that you were extremely detailed with the presentation. In my humble opinion, you didn't go too technical, but just, kind of explaining how everything works here. I especially like the fact that you did manage to focus on, quite a lot of things regarding specifically how both Planck₀ as well as Planck₁ and how they work together, the main roles of both, which I think is truly, truly important for all the users, potential investors to understand here, which once again, truly appreciate it. Definitely goes to show what all the tools, everything that you're bringing to the table, how you're going to serve handy, and not only Web3, also Web2, a lot of real world use cases for industries, companies. So again, I'm very, very excited so far for this. One of the things that I did want to also continue specifically, if we start, not start talking about, but more so continue with the topic of discussion specifically regarding towards the usage of GPUs, right? So as you did have a chance to already mention, that is going to be done throughout the data center operators. So it just brings me to the question here. Once we start talking about, putting the GPUs that they own to use, if let's say the earning specifically of the Planck tokens that you as an individual would like to make use of, if this is dependent on the actual model of the GPUs that they use, or if that is totally unrelated.
Yes, sir. You were falling away a little bit. So is this for the co-staking when you want to co-stake at GPU operators, or is it? Can you rephrase your question because you were falling away? I'm terribly sorry.
No problem. No problem at all. Yeah. So it was, yeah, for the co-staking. If you decide to use, let's say from the data center operators, the GPUs that they would put to work, in that case, if that is dependent on the actual model of the GPUs that they have, or as
Yes, yes. This depends. So currently, a little bit of background. Right now, the NVIDIA H100 GPU, together with the H200 and the upcoming new B200s, those are currently widely used by all big AI companies. So we only support a couple models. You see, with a lot of other projects that they like IO.net and Aether, they accept a lot of GPU models, but for us, it makes sense to just listen to our clients. What kind of GPUs do they want? And that are the data centers that we talk to. So to come back on your question, these data centers, they will probably have H100s, H200s, and B200s. Those are currently the three GPU models that we only accept. So it means like the H100 is around $30,000 per card, per GPU, $30,000. The H200 is slightly more expensive, like $40,000 per card, and the B200 is a lot more expensive than that, but also a lot more powerful. So you can already think about, the logic that we have put in our blockchain, in our smart contracts. It of course distinguishes these different GPU models from each other. So you can find on the platform on tge.plancknetwork.com. It's our hub where all Web3 protocols are working, where you can stake, where you can connect your wallet, whatnot. You can there see at TGE that there will be different pools. So you might see data center 1 sitting in Iceland. They only have H100 GPUs, right? So then your earnings are completely tied to that GPU model, which is a little bit less than an H200 pool, because H200s are more worth, more value, so they cost more per hour. So it definitely depends on the model. If I answer your question with this correctly, it depends on GPU model what your earnings are going to be.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. You did a phenomenal job. Much appreciated examples here tied to it as well. So yeah, DM, thank you very much. Now I'm just going to be continuing with token holder, not only benefits, but utilities as well. Then we're going to talk about a little bit of, let's say, things to look forward to as well. And then I think it only makes sense for us to continue with the community questions, because I noticed that every minute or every 2 minutes, the questions have been just popping off, and the message section of that now Telegram apparently supports. I didn't even know that. And of course, a lot of hands raised up here. But yeah, to keep this short and simple, if we continue with the token holder benefits, once again, you already did a phenomenal job of just mentioning everything, what, of course, token holders can expect in your presentation. But specifically, if we focus on the governance aspect here, now this is something that, I'm not 100% sure if the specifics have already been, let's say, ironed out here. But as far as the governance go, if you already have numbers as far as the criteria, because I think that's not only for holding the tokens, but it's staking, if I did understand correctly. So as far as the staking amount, if that is already something that has been 100% finalized, that you can, of course, already share on the session, a member of the governance, on top of course, the voting rights. If there's any extra benefits, maybe perks that are associated with you actually being a member of it, maybe, let's say, a revenue share model, anything of that nature.
Yeah. So we have focused on bringing the core utilities live first. I know that a lot of projects, they go for the easy way, and they first start with something like governance, and then later on, they're selling a story on what they want to do and want to achieve eventually. And they begin with governance because it's not a very hard thing to develop. You need to think about it when you're a bigger protocol. Of course, it needs to make sense, but in generally, it's a lot easier than bringing your core utilities to life. So what we have been doing over the past 3 years is first focus on our core utilities, making sure that the ecosystem works. And now we're slowly thinking about governance. So governance is not launching until Q1 of next year. It's already a section on our Planck hub that I just mentioned on tge.plancknetwork.com. It's already a section there, but it hasn't been worked out completely yet. So we have, of course, reserved token supply for it, and there will be certain incentives of joining the network as a governance member. But there's currently not a lot to know about that yet. But also, I want to explain to people here that governance might be excited. I understand that, but Our complex dual yield model with the liquid staking that works together with the co-staking and actually the GPU staking is a lot more exciting than having the governance. So we have focused first on getting the whole protocol to live and having the core utilities live at TGE so that there's buy pressure on the chart instead of just only speculating investors. We have focused on that first, and governance will come later. It will surely come, but somewhere around Q1. So I don't want to tell people some numbers here that I can't, numbers that I can't make up to. So I don't want to, go into that too deep right now because I just don't have the information.
Yeah, no problem at all. And I think that is definitely the right route to take here, as far as focusing on core utilities first, and then of course governance once the time is right. So yeah, much appreciated. And lastly, I think as far as the roadmap aspect goes, and of course as we did mention, things to look forward to, I think that you pretty much included this and the last answer that you gave here. So the only thing that I would like to ask from my side before we continue to a lot of community questions, because the hands raised up have just been piling here, but yeah, just wanted to focus on specifically, let's say, the builders that you of course would offer all of the tools to, companies, everything of that nature. Just wanted to ask you, as far as of course them using your tools, if you're going to have any extra incentives once everything's going to be up and running and available to them, for them to actually make use of instantly, to just say, okay, so this is a no-brainer. Obviously speaking, you have so many utilities, you have so many tools, use cases that it would be a no-brainer to begin with, but still, it's really quick to just start using everything you're offering at Planck Network as soon as possible.
Yeah, so it's also extremely important to understand that. So I want to quickly touch on your last question about the roadmap. So at TGE, we will be launching all the smart contracts first on Binance because, I can say it here actually loudly. We have got 3 offers from 3 tier 1 exchanges. So there are currently 5 tier 1 crypto exchanges in the world. You might take a guess on what they are. I'm currently not going to name due to contract restrictions. But we got an offer from Binance. We declined it because we needed to give away a lot of our total token supply. But they kind of pushed us in the last couple months, like, hey, wait with launching your layer 1 and first launch all your core smart contracts on Binance to catch the community there, and then move to your own layer 1. So like 4 to 6 weeks after TGE, we're launching our layer 1 together with our bridge so that Planck tokens move from the Binance smart chain to our own layer 1 and to more than 30 plus ecosystems like Ethereum, like other EVM compatible chains. So that is something that is on the roadmap around 6 weeks after TGE. Then 4 weeks after that, we're launching a testnet of Planck₀. So that is actually the roadmap. Besides, the governance utility part, I think launching a layer 1 6 weeks after your TGE, and then launching 4 weeks after that a layer 0 is very bullish for price movements on the chart. That's also done a little bit strategically, but was initially pushed by Binance. Then I think you had another question about builders. So it's very important to understand that our layer 1 is our own execution layer. So with normal layer 1s, like on Ethereum, you can launch tokens on that layer 1, launch decentralized applications, and do all the things that you are familiar with on a layer 1. Our layer 1 is an application-specific chain. What that means is we took out all the unnecessary stuff, like launching a token upon it, launching decentralized applications, and we only made it the execution layer of our cloud computing platform. So customize it completely to our own use case, which means it doesn't allow builders in Web3 to build on top of our layer 1. Instead, it allows builders in Web2, like AI companies, to build together with our cloud computing platform, and it is executed via our layer 1. So that is very important to know. And these Web2 companies, they will not, they are not working with tokens. They're working with their AI application. They're building an AI application. So that's very important to know. But on the Web3 side, we have our layer 0 as well. So our layer 0 allows layer 1s to be built on top of the layer 0. So there we have it. There we have that Web3 builders. We need to attract Web3 builders that are going to launch their own layer 1 on our ecosystem. And we're giving them tremendous amounts of perks like grants. So We will be doing competitions where the best layer 1 receives grants. They receive free computing power for a while. They receive access to our layer 1. So what does that mean? Our layer 1 will be deployed on top of our layer 0, and we will give other layer 1 builders access to the GPU power that is on our layer 1, which is only enterprise grade compute. So we will have all kinds of interesting perks for Web3 companies that want to launch their layer 1 on our layer 0 and access this compute interoperability that I've just explained. So yes, there are perks, but you need to really distinguish the layer 1, which is more on the cloud computing and the Web 2 side, and the layer 0, which is more in the Web 3 side.
Perfect. Absolutely phenomenal. You have been as detailed as possible once again, so DM, I truly appreciate that. And without further ado, as we did mention, let's now focus on some of the community questions as well, just so we can cover the majority of the ground. So, Mazzy Mike, you're going to be up first, so you guys know how this goes. The first community member is going to be on the hot seat, so better make your questions count, better make them great ones. Hopefully you're having an awesome day so far, and the floor is all yours. Welcome. Hello, Mike. Are you with us?
Hey guys, sorry, Telegram bugged there. I couldn't see that I was unmuted already.
Yeah, it has been. Sorry for cutting you off, Mike, but it has been lagging today, so I completely understand. Go for your question.
And at some point, I couldn't hear you as well, but I'm great to be here. Let me not take a lot of time since there are a lot of questions to be asked. I just wanted to know, listening to you, I mean, fantastic technology, beautiful combination between AI and the rest of it. But I wanted to know how far, integrating with other technologies that currently exist. How far have you guys gone and onboarding more people, more developers into it, getting more people to understand how it works so that you can build more on the blockchain? And from your estimation, how much time do you think it will take for you to fully come into the potential that the product provides? How much longer do you think after launch it will take for you to say, okay, yes, we have been able to hit that above the thresh mark? We are now, in profits. We are now doing well as a business, as an entity with our products and all of that.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very good question, I must say. And, I could, if this was a VC investment call, I would pitch for more than more than an hour straight. But I wanted to keep this a little bit simple. So there are a lot of things I actually didn't explain, which are actually great that they now come alive with these amazing questions. So it is important to know that our cloud computing platform has already launched since March of this year. So we have built our products first and made sure that they are functional, and we launched them already with the chain as testnet behind it. But like I told you, there's already more than $60 million worth of compute on that network. That means if you have so much supply, you must also have some demand, right? So yes, that is surely the case. Back in March, we partnered with Cambridge University startup ecosystem. So for the people that don't know Cambridge is one of the most prestigious universities in the world. It delivers all kinds of PhD students, but it also delivers great founders. So some of these PhD students, they are getting so much knowledge in the field that they work in that they're going to build a company in that field, in that industry. So the startup ecosystem on Cambridge and Stanford and MIT, the big universities in the world, the startup ecosystem is there so good because the founders have so deep knowledge in the industry that they're building a company in, that we thought, let's partner with them. So back in March, when we launched the cloud computing platform and started making revenue with the cloud computing platform, with Planck AI Cloud, we partnered with them to get AI clients and AI startups and amazing AI companies onto our cloud computing platform. So for the first 2 months, we gave away computing power and access to the cloud computing platform basically for free. There were some restrictions, of course. Somebody could not just rent $10 million worth of GPUs and not pay for it. There were some restrictions, but it gave us a great 2 months of changing the platform, improving it, and making it just better after the feedback of these amazing AI companies and future clients from the Cambridge startup ecosystem. That said, after that period of feedback and input and changing the platform with our tech team, we started making revenue. And as of now, we have made more than $1.5 million in revenue already. So I would say we're not basically in profits only, because there's a lot of work with, especially with TGE, with marketing and stuff. But we have been doing an amazing job so far. So the cloud computing platform has been live for a while, but the blockchain that was attached to this cloud computing platform, it just was on testnet. So it gave us also great knowledge about how the blockchain is performing with these real AI clients using the cloud computing platform. How is it processing transactions? And it gave us like 4 to 5 months in making the blockchain better, making the cloud computing platform better, and building up the revenue and building up the client pipeline. So starting from TGE, we will just continue like where we are right now, just with a mainnet blockchain instead of a testnet blockchain. So the cloud computing platform, the Planck AI Cloud, it's already live. It just has the blockchain testnet to it right now until we hit mainnet on November 12th with all the smart contracts deployed.
Okay, I was also hoping you would talk on the incentives you were giving onto the new developers, hoping that they would come on the blockchain, because there are lots of blockchain people creating different technologies, but people are tied up with some other incentive that they get from elsewhere. So I was wondering if you would be adding any sort of incentive for developers to come on board, develop more products on the blockchain that you have created. And then maybe you can also, just an advice, work on, I see you have a very good, healthy social media account. I would love to also see some easy videos, easy to use, how to use, the sort of short videos that put people in check. And you can also serve as some sort of marketing for you, just to guide people on how to use some of the products that you've created. But if you can answer that incentive, that would be all. Thank you so much for the opportunity as well.
Thank you for the input. We are already working on some videos, so that is coming surely. Then again, about incentives for builders on the blockchain, it is very important that we distinguish Planck₁ and Planck₀ here. And Planck₁ is part of the cloud computing platform, which is giving us dollar revenue and not token revenue. And Planck₀ is launching later this year, which allows layer 1 builders to build layer 1s on top of the layer 0. But that testnet is launching approximately 8 to 10 weeks after TGE. So right now that is still being developed by our team. It's the layer 0. It's called Planck₀. For that, we'll have all kinds of token incentives for builders, like grants and all kinds of other incentives and perks for them to build upon. For the cloud computing platform, this basically doesn't allow AI companies to build on the blockchain. It allows them to use the blockchain that powers the cloud computing platform. So it doesn't allow them to build tokens on top of the layer 1, on top of Planck₁. But it allows them to build AI companies and to power their AI application with the cloud computing platform. And it's a whole different ballgame. It's big enterprises that we are, attracting with big contracts that want to rent GPUs for like 8 months or 12 months. They don't think even a second about wanting a token incentive or any of that. So the cloud computing platform basically attracts builders by being a lot more affordable than competitors out there right now, and having the same features that they are familiar with on Amazon Web Services, which allows them to very easily move from an Amazon Web Services and move to Planck AI Cloud while having the same quality and performance GPUs, but then at 90% lower cost and with all the features that are already powering their application. So on the cloud computing platform, it's more like the technology just needs to be very good and a lot more affordable. For Planck₀, we need to have awesome incentives and awesome advantages to build a layer 1 on top of the layer 0.
Thank you for the deep insights. Thank you so much, Rainland, for the opportunity. Wish you guys all the very best.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you for the questions. And of course, we're going to keep on moving to Sujay. Sujay, hopefully you're having an awesome day so far as well. And the floor is all yours. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Rainland. We're doing well. Hi, DM.
How are you doing?
Hope I'm audible. I'm doing
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good presentation. I like how you have your client or clientele defined. They're not your large organizations, which obviously end up using the big 3 or the big 4 cloud services. but they're also not the startups or the really small businesses that are okay with not having as high a reliability as the clients you're talking about. Now, my question is, while you have that piece all figured out, right now you mentioned about 60 million worth of GPU cycles hosted in these tier 3 and tier 4 data centers. Now, what kind of a commitment do you have with these data centers in terms of utilization, and how do you what is your ability to scale up in a situation where there is a uptick in demand for GPU cycles? And also, what is your ability to scale down if there's a period in time when there's not enough volume coming in, there's not enough clients who are locking up the GPU cycles? What kind of a deal do you have with the data centers, and how does that work?
Yeah, so with data centers, especially the tier 3 and tier 4 data centers, we mostly do long-term contracts. So what does mean? We have clients in our pipeline, and especially the kind of bigger companies that have a lot of projections on what kind of GPUs and how much GPUs they need for the coming like 6 months, 12 months. And we give a big discount on the price even for that compared to having on demand. So it allows us to very sustainably scale this because we know exactly what we need per client. So, and it also gives us time because these clients are six-figure contracts, seven-figure contracts. It allows us very easily to project like, okay, sure, that's how much computing power we need for the next 6 months. If we have a new client, they don't need their compute within a couple of days. It's not a decision that they make in like 2-3 days. So that's very easy for us to project. On demand is a lot harder. I'm gonna be very honest with you here. If there all of a sudden comes a company that wants a lot of GPU power, but then on demand, which is a little bit an almost non-occurring situation because it's a lot of money that these companies are spending on compute, and if they need all of a sudden like more than 1,000 GPUs within a day, that's a problem, and that's a problem we need to face, and that's a problem that is basically with every cloud computing platform out there a problem, something we can't really solve that easily with technology because we need to have that client wants their GPUs maybe let's say in India, and we don't have a compute provider available there that has that amounts of GPUs capacity in India. Then we have a problem. So upscaling this on demand is very hard. Upscaling this with long-term contracts is very predictable. So that answers that question. What happens if there's too much GPU capacity on chain? That of course comes again, in correlation with that other problem I just talked about, scaling up. So that if you have GPU capacity on chain that is completely rented by long-term contracts, you know that these contracts just pay out every month. It's reliable, it's sustainable. But when you have too much GPU capacity because one client needed more than 1,000 GPUs, but only for a week, then you are sitting there with more than 1,000 GPUs. So how we solve that is just being very transparent with the GPU providers. We say like, hey, if there's a long-term contract, then you can expect that we are renting out your machines for at least the contract duration. If there's an on-demand client, we already warn them like, hey, they want 1,000 GPUs, but only for a week. So we don't know how long this is going to sustain. That means that after that week has gone by, we can't have those GPUs on the network anymore. Otherwise, it creates too much emissions. So I hope that makes sense. And there's just not a good technology for that we have developed right now to scale this up and down very quickly and easily, because it always has to depend on it always depends on the behavior of our own clients. So again, with long-term contracts, it's very reliable and very sustainable. With on-demand, it's always a bit more scary, but especially for the compute providers. They know what they're dealing with if they are providing their GPUs on-demand for a certain amount of period, meaning that after that period, they will not get paid anymore. But that's just how it works.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Very well explained. It's not, you can't really have a foolproof system for demand and supply when it comes to an offering like this. But I like the transparency. My second question, and part of it you kind of touched in between there, where you said there might be a client who has a specific demand of having their compute hosted in a specific region in somewhere in the world because of data privacy, because of data restrictions that the data cannot leave a certain geographical boundary, and that's why they need it to be hosted in a specific region. My overall question there was, how do you sort of ensure data privacy between clients? What is your pitch to the clients in making them understand that whatever data they're submitting, either to train an AI model or host an AI application, it is completely separated from another client who is probably using compute in the same data center, but they can be rest assured that their data is completely separated.
Yeah, there are a couple important things here. So first of all, if a client is setting up a cluster that of GPUs in a particular data center, let's say in data center in India, he's setting up a cluster there. That means and he wants bare metal access to these GPUs. It means only that client has access to these GPUs. That's just how it works. My CTO can explain it a lot better because he's technical. I'm not so. But then also it comes with something that we're currently pushing for. It's a lot of certifications. So we're currently seeking out for cloud computing certifications. It allows us to be fully compliant towards clients that are asking about it. So we can show that we have certifications for data protection. We have certifications for this, certifications for that. And that makes sure that we are just going to be a lot more trusted by a lot of organizations. So we're currently pushing for that. The exact name of the licensing that we're seeking out, I don't know right now, but I can come back. I can come back on that if you think it's interesting to know more about that.
Sorry for cutting you off. I have also unmuted Rohan, so welcome. If you have anything to add here, do feel free to do so. No problem at all.
Hey, thank you for having me here. First of all, and just what DM said, adding to that, the answer to that is we're using trusted execution environments that's available on our platform. Anyone can use trusted execution TEE as that's the answer on how we can go for private computing if you want to know about it. It can be used for confidential computing, and this is how it works. If you want to use it, you can also use it after our cloud platform goes live. And yeah, pretty much that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that gives an explanation. I'll definitely look up the certification details and what that entails. But thank you very much for pitching in, and thank you, DM, for your explanation. Thanks, Renlitz.
Thank you very much, Sujay. Much appreciated. And we're going to continue with 2 more questions. Kanir, you're going to be next up on the floor. Okay, I just need to find you now because Telegram has been bugging once again. Just a second. Okay, I see you now. Okay, Kanir, welcome. Hopefully you're having an awesome day so far as well. And the floor is all yours. Welcome.
Oh, thanks, Saint. First of all, I must say, you guys have established a very impressive infrastructure for AI startups or, let's say, enterprises. And it is clear that you are going to dominate the space in that regard. My question is for, let's say, the less technical or the regular people of the crypto space. In what way can they participate in your project for, let's face it, for the majority of the people we are mostly interested in, let's say, income or the benefits of such projects. So they say if you are not AI startup program or enterprise, can we still participate in the staking pools, or in what ways can we participate in to earn rewards? Could you touch on that? I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, let me walk you completely through our staking model. So staking at Planck goes beyond traditional yield models, right? So, I'm going to walk you through this, how this works step by step. So first, users that have obtained Planck through a pre-sale or through buying it on the exchange, they can stake their Planck into our liquid staking pool. In return, they receive Planck for the amount of period that they stake. So let's say you have 100 Planck tokens, you lock them up for 6 months or for 5 months or for 4 months. We are completely flexible on that. There's a lot of flexibility on that. Let's say 100 Planck tokens, you lock them up for 3 months. Then you are earning some kind of rewards in Planck tokens. It depends again on the period that you're staking and the amount that you're staking. It's dynamically. So, but also in return for the 100 Planck that you staked, you also get L Planck token. And L Planck is not a token that you can sell on an exchange. L Planck can only be used to restake your position or to switch them back for your initial Planck stake that you have staked into a liquid staking pool. So with a liquid staking pool, you're earning Planck tokens as a reward, and you're earning this L Planck token. And this L Planck token you can use to restake that in the enterprise grade GPU pools. So that's called co-staking. So we have the liquid staking pool and the co-staking pools. And the co-staking pools can only be accessed by putting Planck in the liquid staking pool. So this enterprise GPU pools that I'm talking about from the co-staking, these are basically GPU providers in data centers running the latest GPUs. And by co-staking, your capital, essentially your L Planck tokens, your first stake in the liquid staking pool, it essentially backs those machines with capital. And you share in the revenue they generate from clients on our GPU, on our cloud computing platform. So it's like a dual yield model, where you first earn rewards from the liquid staking pool every week. So every week your Planck tokens that you got as a reward from your liquid staking position, you receive that. And with your L Planck, you can restake that position in the co-staking pool. And there you earn from real world revenue. So from the revenue that comes from these from these enterprise grade GPU providers, so from data centers. So essentially, you don't have to run your own GPU with Planck. You can just co-stake your Planck tokens, your L Planck tokens at these enterprise GPU pools. So it's very interesting because, let me compare it quickly. When you run your own GPU, you have electricity bills, you have cooling costs, you have downtime. So your GPU doesn't get rented because it's not a very high-end GPU model. You have hardware depreciation. And 3090 that sits in your gaming PC, theoretically, it earns like 20 cents per hour. And that's when it actually gets rented. And most of the time, it doesn't get rented at all. But, in these co-staking pools, we have like H100 GPUs, B200s, H200s, and they're all sitting in high-end data centers. So they earn around $2 to $4 an hour. So you earn a lot more, and you don't have to run your own GPUs. And you can do that again by entering the liquid staking pool, getting L Planck in return, and restaking that L Planck in the co-staking pools. Then if you want to unstake again, you unstake your L Planck from the co-staking pool, you get your Planck rewards from the co-staking pool, and then you unstake your position in the liquid staking pool again with this L Planck, and you receive your initial Planck stake in the liquid staking pool back again, together with the rewards of the liquid staking pool. So you're earning like a dual yield model. It's a dual yield model. It's not a traditional staking model. I hope I explained here how you can participate without going too technical,
Yeah, it was very
Also
clear,
adding
and
to that,
also very interesting.
AI demand is increasing like crazy, and you're technically earning on the compute that you don't own. We have all the traction from Cambridge, Oxford, Ivy League colleges that are using our cloud. So it's very beneficial that you stake on co-staking marketplace for the GPUs and technically earning on the AI, and you don't even have to own the hardware. You're earning on someone else's hardware. How crazy is that?
Yeah, exactly. And we figured out very useful staking mechanism, it seems. Thanks for the answer, and thanks, Spainlands.
Thank you very much for your question. And with that, we're going to continue with the last question on today's session. So, Sadiq, we're going to be up next on the second and, of course, the last hot seat. So, better make your questions count, better make them great ones. Hopefully, you have an awesome day so far. And the floor is all yours. Welcome. Hello, Sadiq. Whenever you're ready.
All right, maybe one final question then.
Yeah, we're gonna skip Sadiq and we're gonna have.
Hello, guys.
Never
Sorry,
mind.
guys.
No problem. Welcome.
Yeah, apologies. I actually heard you saying but I wasn't unmuted until now. Actually, sorry.
No worries. Go ahead with your question.
All right. Awesome. So just to be quick, I mean, TG is very laggy. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear. First of all.
Yes.
Awesome. So I must say, first of all, you guys have actually done a great job here in the presentation, the project, as a matter of fact. But then again, I mean, this question kind of struck me. I mean, first off, I mean, there've been so many other existing AI or compute projects, on the space for a very long time, right? Then it kind of struck me like, what core problem is Planck really solving? That these guys haven't solved before. But then again, I mean, it came to my attention, and this thought strike. I mean, okay, fine, okay, you guys go this dual architecture, with the Planck₀ and the Planck₁, right?
Yes.
But then again, it kind of struck to me again at the same time. I'd be like, okay, why does an AI need a layer 0 blockchain? And I mean, how does Planck's dual architecture give a real advantage? And the reason for this thought, actually, because a concern actually came to me, because I mean, if we're talking about dual architecture, we're talking from one of the many problems, we're talking cross-layer communication dependency, right? Of which, if at all, at any point, there happens to be any failure in this cross-layer communication, I mean, it actually results to hosts, workload hosts, and also causing, let's say, corrupted results on chain. And we when we talk about corrupted results on chain, we're talking about your entire ecosystem being faulty from rewarding the GPU owners and the staking and the rest of it and the like. So I mean, I'm just kind of wondering how you guys give any real advantage, especially this dual architecture and the problems that actually surrounds it.
Yeah. So I quickly want to touch one point that is very important, which actually comes a little bit together with the answer I just gave on scaling up and down. And, AI doesn't on itself really need a layer 0. I think AI works perfectly without the layer 0, but we have not really built this layer 0 for AI applications. Let me explain a little bit further. So what we have seen over the last couple of months is that indeed the space gets very crowded with all these normal marketplaces. So you can't even call them AI cloud computing platforms. They're just marketplaces for GPUs. It's super simple to build. But the problem is that these projects are all attracting a lot of GPU power, initially. Which means for the GPU providers that they need to learn about the technology to stake their GPUs into these networks. It takes time, it takes effort, and then all of a sudden the demand of that network falls away, and they need to unstake it again, which takes a lot of time. They need to find a new ecosystem. So it actually gives the whole DePIN and AI space in crypto, and especially the AI compute space, it gives it a very bad image. And we have saw it multiple times with GPU providers that they said, like, it was so hard to get our GPUs off this network and find a new network and actually pay for electricity bills. So it gives the whole space a very bad image. So what we came up with is a compute interoperability. And this is not for AI applications, it's for the GPU providers, and it keeps the space healthy because AI compute in crypto needs GPU providers. So what this compute interoperability does and why it needs to work with Planck₀ is it allows GPU providers to don't think about moving to another ecosystem. Planck₀ makes it possible for high-performance compute chains that need a lot of GPUs, or AI-native layer 1 chains that also need a lot of compute, or other chains that need computing power in the form of GPUs. It allows them to build in the Planck₀ ecosystem. It allows them to all attract compute together, but it keeps the GPUs in one pool and not in separate pools. So what other projects are currently doing, they are siloing this compute into one ecosystem. It's bad for GPU providers. What Planck₀ does, it creates one pool without boundaries. So a layer 1 can be deploying on Planck₀ and it can tap into the computing power that other chains are currently not using. So it creates compute interoperability, like token interoperability got introduced introduced a couple years ago, we are doing now for the first time the same for compute. It makes the DePIN space good again because providers can lock their GPUs into one layer 1, but when that layer 1 doesn't have enough demand for that computing power, then the GPU provider doesn't have to unstake it because another layer 1 on the same layer 0 can tap into that within seconds without needing to push anything. It will just be one flowable compute resource on the whole ecosystem. So it's not particularly for AI applications. Planck₀ is built for ease and for return on investment for compute providers, which is a necessary vital part for AI compute in crypto. So that's what our layer 0, what the advantages are for our layer 0. It's it will be compute, but then interoperable. So compute interoperability, that's the main advantage of Planck₀.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much for that detailed answer. So to move on, I think that does it for me, though. So to move on to my next and very last question, as a matter of course, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So I just wanted to touch on your, staking and tokenomics, right? So I mean, I was actually going to, listen for, the difference, what differs, your staking compute from the normal traditional token staking. But then again, I think you kind of explained that in the last question, right? But I mean, but what I saw from your platform, from your ecosystem entirely, when it comes to the staking and your tokenomics, I mean, it kind of got me wondering, I mean, what functions, depend on holding on staking the Planck? Because from what I see, I don't actually necessarily see any much different, because I think you guys are going to be giving rewards to those who actually stake, and of course, I think I also saw something regarding liquidity, the LP, right, the liquidity providing, which, if I'm correct, is actually going directly to the liquid pool of the token itself, right? Which means, I mean, those who actually stake or provide liquidity have some sort of power to, actually, should I say, impact the chart of the token itself. So it kind of got me wondering, I mean, this is actually going to, attract a lot of whales, right? So I was kind of wondering, beside the staking and the liquidity providing, I mean, what functions, depend on holding or staking the Planck that's this? Because I'm kind of saying, how will, inflation and also, let's say, emission schedules, and also, to also unlock be managed, and also prevent GPU whales, from dominating the network to, maintain token value in the long term. Because from my end, as far as I can see, what I see is a high volatile token on the crypto space when it comes to your token.
Yeah. So the question is, can you summarize it straight in because I heard everything. Can you summarize your question in like one sentence?
Sorry.
No, yeah, I understood everything, but I didn't really understand the question out of it. Can you please rephrase your question into one sentence?
The question out of it, is when it comes to maintaining a long-term stability as to regarding your token, right? Because I see that the staking and the liquidity provider is actually going to have a huge impact when it comes to your chart. Right? I mean, say someone stakes a very huge amount, a whale comes in and then he pulls out. This is definitely going to make a huge hit on the chart. So I'm going to think, like, besides something to keep the Planck token really stable for the long term. Besides the staking and the providing liquidity, I mean, one functions of course depends on holding the stake holding the Planck. I don't have this fear of inflation in the coming future, or this begin to think about it. Higher volatility that it may actually occur in the near future, because once this were full of the stock, I mean, we know definitely what's going to happen in crypto space.
That is a very interesting question, and for that I actually needed to explain my business model as well, which the project is so heavy in Web 2 and in Web 3 with different layers that it is just almost impossible for me to touch base on the whole pitch deck that we have. But you need to understand our business model as well. 10% of all the revenue that is made on the cloud computing platform goes back to the company, while 90% is used for buybacks. This is for hardware services. So there are two distinct revenue streams for hardware services and for software services. For software services, we are talking more about features on the cloud computing platform. For hardware services, we are talking more about GPUs being accessed by features. So for these hardware services, 90% is being used for buybacks, so it creates extra buy pressure on the chart. 10% is used for company revenue, and what we actually do with that is we burn that 10%. So for every transaction, for every contract that we sign on the cloud computing platform, on every feature that we sell on the cloud computing platform for an hour or 2 hours, 10% of that revenue is being burned to create like a deflationary token. Then on the side, we have the hardware services where 75% of the revenue is being retained by the company because it's all services that run on company treasury, on company funds. It's on our own servers, basically. And 50% of that 75% is used for buybacks, and 25% again is used for burning. So there will be a lot less tokens in circulation because of this burning mechanism, and a lot of buy pressure on the chart because of this buyback mechanism. It's also important to know, AI doesn't really know bull and bear markets, where crypto, of course, has a bull market where DeFi protocols are a lot used. And then in the bear markets, the protocols really die because communities don't buy tokens anymore to use these protocols. So the buy pressure on the chart basically just vanishes. AI doesn't know this. AI just keeps growing. I know that people are saying, there comes an AI bubble. There might be less investments into it, but still, AI is dominating the world right now, and it will become even stronger. And even in bear markets, as our platform grows bigger with more clients and a bigger pipeline and more GPUs, that means that even in a bear market, we will have a lot of buybacks on the chart. Constantly, every day, the chart will be full with buy pressure because of these company revenues. And even during the bear market, there will occur every day more and more burning of the tokens through our burning mechanism. So as the crypto market will go into a crypto winter and the bear market will go into full effect, we keep growing our cloud computing platform in the Web2 space, meaning more buybacks every day, meaning more burning cycles every day as we grow bigger. So I hope that gives you a little bit more faith in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that does it, yeah.
All right, it was a pleasure answering your question, and actually it was a pleasure answering all of the questions that have been asked. Raylands, you're taking over again?
Exactly, that would be correct. So before we close it off, the only thing that I once again would like the community to know, do make sure to keep your eyes peeled on, of course, the pre-sale today, 6 p.m. UTC. So just 1 hour and 49 minutes to be exact to go. For those of you that still have their hands raised up, do make sure to also enjoy their Telegram, just so you can get all the answers to your questions. And Diam and Rohan, just wanted to say thank you very much for spending your time with us. You have both been absolutely phenomenal. Wishing you the best of luck for the sale, as well as the actual TGE. All of the best, and that I hope that you have a great rest of your day as well. It has been a pleasure. And to our community, hopefully you have an awesome rest of the day as well. Thank you for tuning in, and we're going to catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.